Hey guys, so in this video, I was just cleaning my basement and I was going to work on a project that, an example for a project that I want to do in school. And underneath the pile of stuff that I was sorting out to clear space, I remembered that I bought this. And my last trip to the Dollar Tree. So in this video, I'm going to review Dollar Tree X-Acto knives. I was pretty impressed with the fact that you get 6 blades and an X-Acto knife for $1. Well, it might be $1.25 because my last trip to the dollar store, I learned number one that their art supply section is getting pretty big, and number two, it's not really the dollar store anymore. It's not really Dollar Tree. It should be $1.25 Tree. But still, even if this is $1.25 now, if this is good, this is still an impressive kit for $1.25. So I'm going to do a comparison between this and one of my many X-Acto knives that I just have on hand that I use on a pretty regular basis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison between this one, and I'm going to cut. I've got some thicker paper. I've got some mat board. I've got some cardboard from an Amazon box. And then I've also got some foam board, which if you're building a 3D sculpture out of something and you want to use cardboard but you don't want all this extra stuff, Dollar Tree has the foam board that they have is great. The stuff that I used in college, the Elmer's, has this like waxy coating. Dollar Tree has this cheap paper coating, and it's actually way easier to cut through. So I actually prefer the cheap Dollar Tree foam board as opposed to the nice fancy stuff. So to make this a fair comparison, we're going to start with the paper. We're going to go to the mat board. No, we'll do paper, we'll do foam board, we'll do cardboard, and then we'll do mat board last. Mat board, even though it's a little bit thinner, it's pretty dense, and it's probably the hardest thing to cut out of those four. So to make this a fair comparison, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the old blade that I have in this X-Acto knife. And if you use an X-Acto knife a lot, one of the things you might want to have on hand is an old Gatorade bottle. I say Gatorade because they have the wide mouths, and it makes it easy to put the old blades in there. And also it's a pretty thick plastic, because you don't want, number one, you don't want that, if you just throw it in the garbage, there's a chance that that blade could work its way down, and then you pull the garbage bag up and it slices open the bottom, and then you got garbage all over the floor. You don't want that to happen, but also you don't want any of your garbage men or women grabbing a bag of trash and having that blade poke them and cut them, and be all kinds of problems. So I'm going to put a brand new blade in this. And the first thing I notice in this kit is that my good blade has a cap, has a cover on it, so when I put it in a drawer, I don't have to worry about accidentally stabbing my finger. You don't get one of those with this kit, but what you can do instead is if you have like a pink eraser, you can just shove it in there when you're done. So let's see, how am I going to get this out? It looks like I'm just this is heavy duty plastic that it's in too. Wonder how much they could have spent on the, whatever. All right, so I'll dump these. So I'm going to be using, this is a number 11 blade. That's the blade I'm going to be using with this. So you get a series of different blades. I'll put those all back. Yeah, some of these I don't know what I would use. I don't think I'll ever use that. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so here we go. First thing I notice is that On my good one, the whole thing is aluminum, even that little receiving piece. On this one, it's a blue plastic instead of aluminum, and it's much lighter. It's shorter. The diameter is thinner. Actually, I might use this to cut. I'll test it on this too. So I'm gonna go with the paper first. Let's see. I'm gonna use my blade first. Let's run a test cut. Now, actually, this is kind of inconvenient. It doesn't feel right because it's so short. It feels weird, but it's usable. I wouldn't say that's a deal breaker. And that blade's sharp. That's a clean number 11 blade. That's a good blade. So there's probably not much difference between the blade in the Dollar Tree one and mine. Actually, they both have that little angle on the top. Let's try some thicker. You know, I don't think it's going to be a problem cutting it. I don't think the issue is going to be in the sharpness of the blade. What it's going to be is how weird is this to hold because it's so much smaller. So I'm not even going to do the side by side with mine anymore. All right, let's try mat board now. It's not bad, you know. I'm not a huge fan because of how short it feels, how light it feels in my hand. But it's doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, like I said, for what it is and how much it costs, that's a pretty impressive tool for $1.25. Let's try cutting it this way now. Farm that one. Now the mat board. Yeah, see, this is where I don't like it because it feels like it's pressing too hard in here. Like when I hold my X-Acto knife, like it rests completely in the webbing of my thumb, between my thumb and my first finger. With this one, when I hold it, like I feel like it's like there's a lot of pressure there. It doesn't quite fit. It should either be shorter or longer, I feel like. Now let's try one more thing. Let's try, I don't have is this a writing utensil? Nope. Let's try cutting a curve. See how it feels. No. Yes, having it like this one, I feel like I've got more control. Like it's not sliding around, it's not twisting. I feel like whether it's because this one's so small, so narrow in diameter, or because it just doesn't fit all the way in the back of my, the webbing of my hand, I feel like the blade is wanting to do this. So if I was working on a project and this was the only X-Acto knife I had, I would be able to use it. I would probably make faces the whole time, but it works. And like I said, for $1.25, it's pretty impressive. So for my final verdict, obviously I prefer the professional model, but if I was in a pinch and I needed an X-Acto knife and the Dollar Tree was the only place that I could get one, this would work. So would I recommend it? If you need it for one job, yeah, that'll get you. This will get you through a job, maybe a handful of jobs. If you're looking for a long-term art supply, I would say definitely invest in one of these. These are not much more expensive. You can probably pick them up on Amazon for $6, $7, maybe $8, $9, $10, depending on what brand you get and what other accessories you get with it. Definitely, if you're looking for a long-term, get one that comes with the cap. That's huge. So the pros, it's cheap, man. It's Dollar Tree. Also, like, the blade stayed tight the whole time I was cutting. I didn't have to tighten it. I've used some decent X-Acto knives where I've had to retighten them, where the blade comes loose. That little collar loosens up. So that didn't happen on this. Of course, I didn't cut much, but the fact that it didn't, that's promising. You get 6 blades with this, which is nice, better than just getting one. Some of them are more useful than others. Honestly, the only one that I wouldn't use for the stuff that I do, like cutting mats and cutting cardboard and stuff like that, the only one that I wouldn't use is that blade here. That wouldn't work for the stuff that I'm doing. But the rest of these would work. So the cons, I talked about it in the video, how uncomfortable I was with how short it was. It didn't sit comfortably in my hand. Number one, the diameter. Number two, the length of it. It felt like it was pressing into the webbing a little bit. And if you're cutting something that you have to really kind of put some muscle into, it was a little bit uncomfortable when I was cutting the cardboard. I wasn't in pain, but after cutting, like if you're doing a big job where you're cutting cardboard and you're using this little guy, I could see my thumb getting a little sore by the end of that project. So, like I said, for 1 or 2 projects, I think it's impressive for what it is. So I would recommend, if you're a student looking to complete an art assignment at home and you got $1.25 to invest, I think it's a good investment. But long term, I think if you're somebody who's looking to just have an X-Acto knife on hand, I would say that this would be the way to go. So the other thing that I don't like is that this doesn't come with a cover. So, like I said in the video, when I was doing the cutting, I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna shove them in a pink eraser somewhere, and I don't know, I'll probably use them at some point. So I hope this, hope if you're in the market for an X-Acto knife, this helps you, and be good.